You see, I had asthma, and I had diabetes. I was impotent. I was obese. I was angry. Very, very angry. They put me up in the ship in Russia. The doctor didn't heal me. And one day, a brother from New Orleans, Ronald Evans, called me here in Los Angeles and said, hey, I met a Mexican that healed everything. And I went to Mexico, and I met the man. The man looked at me and asked, where are you from? I said, I'm from Honduras. He said, man, I can't help you. I said, why? Because black people doesn't come from Honduras. That's Maya, that's Paya, that's Lenca. Where you from? I said, oh, I'm from Africa. He said, now we could talk.
Greetings. I am Sri Gano Grills for Galighticus.com. And today I want to talk about DR.SEBI, Dr. Alfred Bowman, DR.SEBI, the man who challenged the medical establishment with no education, the man who was known to have cured AIDS. He just transitioned recently, and this has been very, very much on my heart to add my view on the climate of what's going on at the moment. A lot of people are very angry. A lot of people are upset because, as far as I know to this date, there has been no accountability as to the circumstance under which he transitioned. So the anger is warranted. It's understandable. It's perceivable that people are, I don't want to say conjuring up conspiratorial elements, but it's understandable how people rationally deduce where they are in their mindset about how DR.SEBI passed. This is what I would like to add to the equation. DR.SEBI was someone who was very courageous in everything that he did. He healed with love. He healed with divine talent. Divine talent means that your talent is given from the Creator. When the Creator gives you something, a lot of times it will fly in the face of self-appointed gatekeepers, if you will. DR.SEBI made a fool out of a lot of people who deemed themselves as vicegerents about a great many things when it comes to the electricity of the body and the holistics and homeostasis of the human condition, the body. DR.SEBI was someone who healed all diseases. And to that end, he made a lot of enemies. So I didn't want to come into this with the mindset of anger, but I don't want to discount where people are at in terms of how they feel about how he left this world. This is what we know. DR.SEBI was in Honduras. He was arrested because he had $13,000+ which should not be a crime. He was detained, and he did not walk out of that situation alive. You can do the math. Ironically, there was a public announcement that they have a cure for AIDS the same day that DR.SEBI was alleged to have passed. Now, I'm going to share something personal with you. I didn't know DR.SEBI, but there is one of my initiates, and I don't know if she'll want me to call her name, so I won't. She just came from the compound in Honduras, and she spent 2 weeks there with DR.SEBI and the family. She brought me back 2 bottles of CC4, which is a product that DR.SEBI produces or has produced that will relieve your bowels of unwanted waste, if you will. She gave this to me in Atlanta, Georgia, when I did the last Angels, Gods, and Altar seminar. I put those 2 bottles of CC4 on my altar. So from the time I received them to up until 3 days ago, I salute my altar every day. And I took those 2 bottles and put them in the refrigerator. I don't know why I did it, but 3 hours later, I found out that Dr. Sebi transitioned. I said, okay, these things happen all the time, every day. So I wanted to look a little further into that. And I reached out to a very good friend of mine, and we did something called an emergency seance, where we reached out into the spiritual world. And I spoke to Dr. Sebi directly, and I asked him, what was the condition of your passing? And he made it very clear what happened. I won't disclose too much of what he said, but what I will say is that I recorded the conversation with myself, Dr. Sebi, and I will release that because I feel that it will be an appeasement to the people who are wondering what really happened to him, so that too many people aren't conjecturing and adding things into the element of his death that shouldn't be there. But what I will say is that he made it very clear that he did leave this world, and his work will live through certain people that have an open heart chakra. At a later date, when I speak to certain people and get the green light, I will put the conversation on YouTube for a public record, because there is no public record. There is only conjecture at the moment. So my contribution to this equation and to honor Dr. Sebi is to put to rest a lot of the rumors and the anger that is out there. Let's turn that anger into honoring him rightfully. And how do we do that? All of the people that Dr. Sebi has healed, all of the people who have benefited from his products, all of the people that have learned something new, applied it, and have the gnosis that what he taught you worked, spread that to other people, teach it to other people, utilize it, incorporate it in your life. And if you have a picture of Dr. Alfredo Bowman, Dr. Sebi, print it out, put it on your altar. Burn some ancestor money for him. Serve him some food to help his energy cross over. And at a later date also, I will do this at his service, or his, I don't want to say memorial, but at his celebration. I have spoke to the gods about petitioning Dr. Sebi to have bestowed upon him godship. I think he deserves it. I think that he was very bold and courageous about the things that he taught to us. Now let's think about this. It's public record that in 1988, he went to court and 77 people showed up that he had healed from cancer, AIDS, and other diseases. Public deposition, public record that he, in fact, healed the bodies of sickness to the point where it was not there anymore. That's when the clock began to tick. That ultimately led to his demise. Dr. Sebi was 82, 83 years old. For a black man, that's about 200 years old. We don't live that long, unfortunately. Dr. Sebi did not want to die. He was not ready to go. He was ready to live for another 10, 15, 20, 30, maybe 40 years. Had a lot of work that he wanted to do. And when I get Dr. Sebi's permission to release what he spoke about, I'm going to go back and ask if it's okay with him. I will do that. But in the meantime, I think it's very important for everybody who has learned something from Dr. Sebi, everyone that has benefited from his vast knowledge, to use that, keep it going, hold up the light, hold up the dignity, keep your back straight, and make sure that whenever you say his name, it is with respect, it is with honor, it is with dignity, and that you will continue to live his legacy through you and teach it to the new generation. Administer it to the people that need it. give it freely the way he did, because he was not about money. That's another thing that he made very clear. He used money as a tool. Therefore, the people that he will work with from beyond the veil will be people who are not greedy, people who are not infected with the disease of capitalism. It's very important that you have it in your beingness to be a servant of mankind. Those are the people who will be first in the coming ages. The last will be first, the first will be last. So that's my public service announcement. I want to give my celebration, my celebratory to all of the family of Dr. Sebi. I want to acknowledge all of the work that he's done and keep the vibration high. Let's not let his legacy be tarnished by anger, fear, or chaos. Take a picture, put it on your altar, leave it there for about 3 months, and let him see your prayers and your supplication. I think he's earned it. I am Sri Gano Grills for Galighticus.com.
Science also says that AIDS, diabetes, sickle cell anemia are all the result of a virus, a germ, or a bacteria. Not so.